Alright, so we had ourselves our very first repeat community day, and presumably this will not be the last, considering that there's plenty of other Pokemon that they could have as a repeat community day. But in terms of Charmander, I honestly had a few thoughts coming out of this community day. Now, was this community day a success? Did it achieve what it wanted to? I really do not know exactly, considering that when it comes to this particular community day, it was kind of like testing the waters. But overall, I still had fun with it, and there was a lot of things that I really enjoyed about it that I will be discussing in today's video. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. How's it going, everyone? It's me, it's Count, here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. Today I'm going to be giving you my review of Charmander Community Day. This was our very first repeat community day, so there's definitely a lot of thoughts behind it. I honestly think this was a lot of fun. It wasn't necessarily as successful as I thought it would be, or maybe as much as Niantic hoped it would be, but in terms of what it did, it was still pretty enjoyable. So, of course, Charmander was our very first repeat community day. Charmander Community Day already happened, and of course we got another one, and I really feel like if it wasn't for the Stardust bonus and it wasn't for the new move, a lot of players would have skipped this one out, and I still think a lot of players still did, considering that the new move, Dragon Breath, was not as exciting as a lot of players anticipated. Of course, the big incentive of getting a really good Charizard with Dragon Breath and Dragon Claw was, of course, because of Mega Evolutions, considering that Charizard's Mega Evolution X also gives a boost to Dragon types, so of course a lot of players were hoping to get a really good Charizard out of this event. But naturally, as it would be with a repeat community day, the excitement of getting a brand new shiny was just not there, and that is going to be expected, but I really hoped that the new move would actually make up for some of that, but I'm not sure it exactly did for a lot of players. I think moving forward, if Niantic were to do something like this again, maybe they could add a little splash of something else. Maybe they could give us both community day moves. I mean, it was kind of one of the big problems with this particular community day. I think there was a lot of confusion among the community. A lot of players were not sure if they should hold off on evolving their Charmanders in order to get both community day moves in December. I don't know about any sort of 100% confirmation that that's going to be the case, but I did hear otherwise. I know a lot of players have been reporting that Niantic already stated that Blast Burn was going to be a legacy move from now on, and it's not going to be a community day move that we could get through the December community day. But I just think Niantic needs to communicate a lot better, and they need to clarify what exactly is going on with Charmander's community day moves. But aside from that, I do think that Niantic needed some ground to make up, considering that this was a repeat community day. I honestly thought it would have been nice if Niantic included some of the hat Charmanders with evolutions from the past, like for example like Party Hat Charmander, if we were to get Party Hat Charizard out of that, or even some of the special research could have been utilized a lot better. But speaking of research, we did get a couple of Charmanders that we could get through research tasks, and I always am a fan of this when it comes to community days, and I kind of wish Niantic did it more, considering that Charmanders are always going to be better IVs, and of course when it comes to shinies, getting one out of research is always going to feel a little bit better. I kind of wish that Niantic did this more with community days, and I really feel like this was one of the big positives of this particular community day. The fact that we could get so many more Charmanders out of research just felt a lot better. And then of course you could stock up on those research rewards, and then when you hit a bit of a drought with Charmanders, then you can start completing those researches for even more Stardust. And I do want to highlight that because there was triple Stardust with this particular community day, I felt like there was just a lot more engagement. There were a lot more players going out and about. And I've said this before, but I really think Niantic needs to consider adding the Stardust bonus to community days more often, because it's always going to drive engagement. It's always going to drive people to play a lot harder during community days, and I really feel like that was one of the reasons why a lot of players were out and about for this particular community day. Now I do want to point out that when it comes to incense, we were getting spawns every minute. It was very similar to what it was before they had all of the nerfs to the pandemic bonuses, and I really feel like Niantic needs to continue doing this at least until we get to a better state, because as of right now the pandemic hasn't really cooled down, so I'm really hoping that Niantic reverts some of these changes back, at least for community days. And finally, something I want to point out is that it seemed like the shiny rate was a lot lower than it was for Magikarp. I could be mistaken here, but I just felt like for the last couple of community days, the shiny rate has been slightly lower than it usually is. But of course, we do get 3 extra hours of community days. But when it came to Charmander, it just seemed like it was much lower than it usually was. I grinded out for the entirety of these 6 hours, and I only ended up with less than 10 shinies, which is abysmal compared to how it was in the past, where I would get at least 20 to 30 shinies. So yeah, I'm wondering if Niantic lowered the shiny rate for this one, or they just pressed the wrong button. I really don't know what it was, but I just felt like there were a lot less shinies than there usually is, which I'm not necessarily against that, but I'm also not thinking it's going to be a positive, right? Because what is the big motivation for people to do community days? Of course, it's going to be to catch shinies. So it was kind of unfortunate that there was a lot less shinies to go around this time around. But in any case, yeah, these are just my thoughts regarding Charmander Community Day. I really did enjoy it at the end of it all, but I really think a lot of that has to do with the fact that there was that triple Stardust bonus. So at the end of it, I did feel a lot of gratification just coming out of it, grinding hard and just getting a lot of Stardust. And, you know, I just feel like this is one of the things with Community Day. If there's not a big incentive for people to grind hard, then people will not grind hard. So yeah, I do think Niantic needs to put these things into consideration when they design these community days along with their bonuses. But yeah, that's gonna be it. Leave your thoughts down below. What did you think of Charmander Community Day? I would love to know. Did you have a positive experience, or was it negative for you? I would definitely like to have a discussion going. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if it's your first time here. I am Count Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, and I'll catch you all later.